What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It's July 13th. We have a big wrestling weekend for you. WWE Money in the Bank, Impact Wrestling, Slammiversary, and we've got a friend of ours here to make predictions from the Mark Order podcast. She's also starting a Twitch watch along on Mondays called My Morning Match. We got Kate Hensler here. Kate, how you doing?
I'm so great, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm so glad you could do this. I reached out to you last week, and I was begging you to come on. I was like, Kate, please.
Oh,
please. And you yelled at me. You yelled at me in the DMs. You're like, why would I do that? Why would I do that? And I was like, oh, okay. And then you were like, I guess I will. I guess I'll pack it into my busy schedule.
Well, when you were like, if you come on, you're guaranteed to have your own sneaker design by the end of the week. I was like, all right, I'll bite, I guess.
They're across the room. The SRS ones are. But you know what? If people want to be able to afford SRS ones, they can check out my friends at WrestleRumble.com. Money in the Bank Pick'em contest. If you're watching this prediction video, there's probably a good chance you like making these predictions. First place gets $1,000. Second place, $100. Third place, $100. They've got a bunch of contests going on right now as well, like the Solo Monster Championship belt contest. You can win 2 tickets to All Out. There's a custom art contest where Seinfeld meets professional wrestling. And it's not just straight up predictions. You're picking how long matches will last, who will win the matches, what spots will happen during the matches. Wrestle Rumble is so much fun. I play it for every single pay-per-view. There's even predictions for if there will be a cash-in for the men and women, how many tables will break during a match, if the Edge Roman Reigns match will go over 20 minutes. Then for the all-out ticket contest, it's for 2 tickets in the 116 Dead Center Row 2 area, and it's just $1 per entry. The live drawing is July 21st after AEW Dynamite. It is, it's a hot ticket right now. Plus, you can add a little bit more to the stakes of Money in the Bank. So check them out, WrestleRumble.com. But Kate, we're making a lot of predictions today. I've never done a 2-in-1 show. You're breaking barriers here. You
don't even have to be like savvy to go to WrestleRumble.com.
Yeah.
You can watch this, go over there, take all of our free advice.
There you go.
Man.
Our mod, Hannah, won like 6 or 7 belts from them and like thousands of dollars. There's so much. By the way, guys, leave a thumbs up on this video. I know I'm scatterbrained. I'm all over the place. It's a crazy day. Get a super chat in if you want those questions or statements read on the air. But Kate, you ready to make some Money in the Bank predictions?
I am. I think this is a kind of unpredictable one, like in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like there's unpredictable in that you're like, wow, I don't know what they're doing. And then there's unpredictable that's like, wow, I don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It makes it fun. Unpredictable is always fun. So let's dig in.
We've got the Raw Tag Team Championships, AJ Styles and Omos against the Viking Raiders. I think AJ and Omos are going to take this one. The Viking Raiders, I don't think that's who WWE wants to beat Omos for the first time. But how are you feeling?
I'm feeling the same, and that's kind of a bummer because the War Raiders were great, but the Viking Raiders are a comedy shtick, and they were kind of brought back as like the Raw after Mania surprise, and they just haven't really done anything to build them out. So I'm going with AJ and Omos on this. I think the past booking like up to this has made AJ Styles feel kind of just like a regular guy, which is like sad and takes effort. So I think they need to get this reign back on track. I think they're going to start doing it right here. I'm excited for this one.
I hope so. I mean, they're a great act. I think them versus RK Bro in the future could be a lot of fun. So we'll see how that goes. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Raw Women's Championship. I think Charlotte's going to win, and I think Becky comes back soon. But I would really rather see Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch at this point.
I would too. I'm actually going with you on this too. I think Charlotte is coming back, and that coincides with my Money in the Bank prediction for the ladder match. But I think Charlotte takes it here, and I think they need to get back to the drawing board with Rhea and figure out. They don't even have to figure it out. They figured it out in NXT. Just have to go get her back to her roots. But if they continue in this direction, I don't think it's going to be very good. And I think you want the most over women's heel And I think Becky's coming back as the most over women's face in front of live crowds again. You're going to want those pops. So I'm with you. I think Charlotte's going to get her ass booed out of the building, but I think she's going over.
Yeah, I think so too. And I wish they would have built Rhea better. Her doing the taunt at the top of the ramp with the crutch was funny, but other than that, like she's just trolling Charlotte all the time, and I'm like, all right, you can do better than that. They're better than that, but
I also don't get why they did this, and you alluded to it on last night's stream too. Like Jinder and Drew have a history, and they've just been leaning into it at all. Rhea and Charlotte have a history, and they haven't been leaning into it at all. To me, that whole crutch spot felt like these writers that maybe don't know about the product learned about this device where you can fake someone out with an injury, and they were like, we're going to double down on it. Yeah. Won't that be fun? And we were like, no, it's not fun. They're both really great wrestlers, and they're both healthy. So, but I'm with you. I think Rhea's build has unfortunately fallen flat because it's definitely not her. She proved for years in NXT that she's ready. They just got to figure out how to redirect her.
Bobby Lashley defends the WWE Championship against Kofi Kingston. I think this is a pretty slam dunk one. I think Bobby Lashley wins this, and I think it plays into the men's Money in the Bank ladder match later on. How are you seeing this one going?
I think so too. The only thing I will add to like the conversation that's already been happening about this, I don't know if it's gonna be the squash everybody thinks it is with Kofi. I think the he's been delivering building to this are amazing. And I think the wrinkle that we saw at the end of Raw yesterday, maybe there's going to be some sort of wrinkle with MVP. Maybe this is going to be a leap for Lashley. So I'm with you. I think this is probably one of the most predictable ones on the card, but I don't think it's going to be like a quick submission like some people are saying. I think we're going to get a hell of a match out of Kofi and Lashley.
Oh, I do too. I think this match is going to rule. I think it's going to be fantastic. We got Roman Reigns and Edge. I would be shocked if Edge won this match because Roman Reigns is what they've been building for all these years. This is the Roman Reigns that the fans always really wanted and what WWE should have wanted. And now it's finally here. And now it's happening in front of crowds. How do you see this one playing out?
I think this might be where we see Cena come back.
Really?
If it's here or maybe at SummerSlam, but I think maybe you set up either maybe via video or whatever, but I think Cena and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam is the match, but the moment to get you there is happening in front of the live crowd, whatever that looks like. Maybe not a Cena appearance necessarily, but I think they know that the product has been stale. They need to go all in on this live crowd, and they are going to set that up here. But yeah, I think Edge is losing. I think Roman Reigns is winning. By far the most compelling story over the past year and a half in the men's division, at least, that we've seen. And I don't think they're going to let go of it here. That would be silly.
You know what? I agree with that. Roman's got to retain. And the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, right now we have Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Asuka, Naomi, Liv Morgan, Zelina, Natalya, and TBA. I believe TBA will be Sonya Deville, and I think Sonya will win the match. Who do you think wins the women's Money in the Bank match?
Okay, this is why I thought Charlotte was going over. I think it's going to be Becky because I think I think they want that moment in front of a live crowd. I actually hate that because Becky doesn't need it at all. But I think they want that moment in front of the live crowd. But then I went to Fightful Select and I read some information that kind of threw off that prediction.
Well, so I should say that was a pitch. I don't know that it was. I heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, it's pretty well set," and then I asked another person. They said, "Well, if all goes according to plan, that's what we were told was going to happen a couple weeks ago, or something like that." So it's leaning that way. I can't say for certain. You can never say for certain until it happens, because anybody can. They like to hide their secrets a little bit more these days. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think with Becky, there's such a natural story there of I relinquished my title right after Money in the Bank, and this is how I'm going to get it back. And while I feel like of any device in the wrestling world, Money in the Bank should be the biggest star maker because you have a year with it. Yeah. Like Royal Rumble kind of should be, but I also get not wanting to hotshot somebody in such a short amount of time. You have a year with Money in the Bank. It should always be a star maker in my opinion. But I will say Becky walking around with a briefcase for like 8 months, taunting everybody with it, that could get very, very fun.
I agree. And then we got the men's Money in the Bank. Riddle, Ricochet, John Morrison, Drew McIntyre, Big E, Kevin Owens, Nakamura, Seth Rollins. This is one of the most stacked men's Money in the Bank matches, like from a being able to work perspective in maybe ever. It might be the most loaded. Riddle has indicated, and it was not shot down on the air, that if he wins, he's going to cash in on the tag team titles. Now, for a long time, people have said, oh, can they even do that? It seems within the context of WWE programming, you can. That would be dumb because all you got to do is ask for a title shot and you get one. But I think that Big E wins this. I think it's natural for him to challenge Bobby Lashley. If Brock Lesnar ain't coming back, I think the match is Big E, Bobby Lashley, Big E stepping over to Raw, challenging for that title, probably winning it at this point because Lashley's had a pretty good reign. And you can always go back to Lashley if you need to. But I think Big E's winning this. I want to know what you think.
I'm with you. I initially thought it was going to be Drew, but then this thing with gender and motorcycles and swords, and we're getting really mad about our toys. So I don't know where this is going to go. And I also think that Drew can go on a downfall and go challenge Roman at some point. If there's going to be SummerSlam draft stuff, maybe he just gets pulled over there more naturally. I'm hoping that he goes on some sort of downward spiral soon. I think we've all been rooting for that versus Mr. Feeney history teacher Drew. I hate him so much. So I'm with you on Big E. I think it's going to be a really natural story. And I think reuniting him with the New Day is going to be such a heartwarming moment in front of the crowd.
Wild Boy says he thinks Riddle's going to win it and give it to Randy because of friendship. Could you imagine the heat there? There'll be a lot of people that don't like that. And Randy is a snake. He's a snake. So, I mean, he
specifically.
Yes, he is. This could have been his plan all along. He takes a few weeks off and Riddle wins it for him. Oh, man.
I had that much faith in WWE creative, but I just don't. Yeah. Point. But that is an interesting angle. I'm just with you, though, that the tag division doesn't need the briefcase because it's not strong enough where it doesn't feel like everybody's a contender right now in some way. So, yes. Like, we're getting the Viking Raiders and they're not built. You know what I mean? So I think the most over tag team right now is them. And so they simply don't need it. But I do like that Riddle put that swerve out there in public because it's at least putting some intrigue into the ecosystem a little bit.
Money in the Bank isn't the only show we have this weekend, but I will be here for the Money in the Bank post show Sunday night with Denise. Make sure you guys check that out. But Saturday night, Denise will be here with Steven Jensen with the Impact Slammiversary post show because I'll be in Nashville. Don't know if I'll be at the show yet, but I will be in Nashville. I'll be talking to some people, getting some stuff done. But we got some shows or some matches to predict. We got W. Morrissey against Eddie Edwards. I'm just saying, Eddie Edwards also has shoes from GOI Kicks. Oh. So, we're probably going to, we'll probably hang out, talk about how cool our shoes are. I don't think there's any way W. Morrissey loses this. The former Big Cass is being pushed to the moon right now, as he should be.
I agree with you entirely. And despite the coolest kicks in the game, and I do love Eddie Edwards, I think you've got to keep building Morrissey. I think he's going to be in the title picture sooner rather than later once this crossover stuff maybe winds up. I think there's a lot of money to be had with him and maybe Moose at some point for a title shot down the line. But I'm with you. Eddie Edwards, great worker, but I think, not to steal from Cameron Grimes, but we are pushing William Morrissey to the moon. Let's go.
So, also Edge has shoes by GOI Kicks too. I'm just saying. We got Chris Sabin against Moose, who, by the way, has shoes from GOI Kicks. Like me.
That should be on Wrestle Rumble its own thing. Like GOI prop bets. Definitely.
There you go.
Into Moose, this for sure.
Regardless of what Moose keeps saying, like he's inconsistent in interviews about whether he's got a new contract or not. He's there. He's signed. He's got a new deal. I think he's beating Chris Sabin, but I think this match is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be fantastic. Chris Sabin's one of my favorite workers of the last 15 years. Kind of in a holding pattern until Alex Shelley comes back, decides he's going to come back. He does. I think he's into physical therapy, so he's making sure that things are safe before he returns, not just for him, but for the people he works with. But I got Moose winning this.
Yeah, same. And I don't mean to be agreement girl on a predictions pod. It makes it kind of boring, but I'm totally with you on that. I think Moose is a star. I'm kind of surprised that they weren't saving him maybe to take the title off of Omega at some point. Maybe they are. Maybe he works his way back in. But I was surprised that they had that shot earlier. I think he's a star. And I think he is there regardless of what he's saying. So definitely with you on that. I'm going with Moose and his kicks.
We have an Impact World Tag Team title match. Violent by Design, who I am loving right now. TJP and Falaba. TJP, definitely not a good Twitter follow, but he's a great wrestler. The Good Brothers, who are always entertaining. And then Willie Mack and Rich Swann. Now I have an interview up with Willie Mack on Fightful right now, including the Pulitzer Prize winning article that I just published about how Josh Alexander walked in on him taking a dump. I actually reached out to Josh Alexander for comment on this story to make sure, I got all angles of this. And he told me that when he walked in on Willie Mack taking a dump, Willie Mack was completely naked. I just wanted to make sure that was out there.
First of all, they call you an air quotes journalist. That is hard-hitting journalism.
It's hard shitting journalism is what it is.
That is the biggest shit story since Andre, I think. I mean, what more do people want?
Yeah. So make sure you guys show that interview some love. Willie Mack, he's a very reserved guy, like when he's not on camera, but we talk about the forbidden door, so to speak. There was a point a couple years ago where he was working Lucha Underground, ROH, NWA, and Impact at the same time. So that's pretty wild. We talk about why he wears a mouth guard when he wrestles. I'm a mouth guard guy as well, so shout out to him for that. A 159-man battle royal that he was in. So check out that interview. It's a good time.
Awesome.
So who do you think's winning this one? This is a big question mark for me because the Good Brothers can always win. They can always win. Violent by Design has been on fire lately. Without Eric Young, whatever, they've been incredible. How do you see this one going?
Man, I was trying to noodle around the idea that what happens with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, if them both having Impact titles is a good thing, if that's a disadvantage. I want to go Violent by Design here. I don't really have a super logical reason because I feel like kind of any of them could win it at this point, but I think they're being built super, super well. I don't think you need Eric Young there to do anything. He could come out and be a mouthpiece. Who knows? But I'm so in on them that this is one where I'm I don't know if there's anything logically that pulls me too hard in either direction. So I'm just going to go with the one that feels right to me. And that's Violent by Design on this.
I'm going to be agreement boy and I'm going to follow your lead on this one.
Agreement boy.
Knockouts Tag Team Championship. I've got Fire and Flava over Rosemary and Havoc. I think Fire and Flava are really great in the ring. However, I don't know when Kiera Hogan's deal is up. At one point, it was supposed to be up in the summer. That's always a question mark. However, that doesn't mean anything in Impact Wrestling because they've got tapings for 2 or 3 days following this. So they could have them drop the titles then. We've seen Jordan Grace win a title before she signed a deal. We've seen Moose given a title before he re-signed his deal. Kenny Omega does not have an Impact contract. He's their champion. Deonna Purrazzo won the Knockouts title before she was signed full-time. So I'm still going to go Fire and Flava here because I think there's plenty of time to get it off of them if they need to.
I think so too. And I think maybe the Impact Knockouts are about to get iconic. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping is one of, if not the biggest surprise on the show. I think. I don't know where they are on their days, but you can't trust WWE contracts for that anyway. And I think they're just about at the hump either way. So I think that's just such a fun collision there too with Fire and Flava and the Iconics. So that is what I'm hoping for, and also my prediction.
So let's talk about that a little bit. You mentioned don't know when their days are up. Their days are up. It would be Wednesday. They'd be available to appear elsewhere if they were a part of the April. If they were part of the April ones, but even then, Chelsea Green hit up WWE and was like, hey, I would really like to work the ROH tapings. It's a few days before my 90 days. Will you all let me out of it? And they were like, we'll let you out of the whole thing if you want. And she's like, a few days is fine. So
a few days is fine. I've got
few days is fine. I'm not doing anything till then. And that got a lot of buzz. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. I mean, it got a lot of buzz. A tweet that I put out over it did like 1.5 million impressions for an ROH show. We had more buzz on Fightful Select for that ROH show than any recent pay-per-view. So I think people are expecting some surprises to pop up at Slammiversary. I know of at least 2 personally that I can't put out there because they were off the record.
Advantage. Every time.
Yes. I know of at least 2 that are off the record. I'm trying to get them on the record. It's very tough. I'm going to try to speak with both of them as well if I can. But I think the Iconics would be a great addition. I think it would be really, really fantastic. And somebody says it comes down to their visa status. Well, that's not really what this is about. I mean, Impact can get them visas. That's the thing. When they work somewhere, they can get them visas. I think that would be great. They need this team for that division, Kate.
I think so too. And I think they're smart enough to know there's more money in them working together as well than there is working apart. But I feel like that just immediately makes it feel like it's not just 2 people that got thrown together, which I feel like is the advantage that Fi and Flavor has now. They're the most cohesive in that division, but get somebody else in there that feels like a bona fide tag team to anchor down that division, can put talent over while having an awesome reign. I think that would be a slam dunk for both parties.
I'll have more on visa issues and some of the hurdles that some of these wrestlers are facing on FightfulSelect.com this week. Please subscribe. Breaking exclusive news over there every single day. And today at 5 p.m., I've got a live Q&A show. I'm traveling this week, so we're going to do a live one. Swing by. I'll answer as many questions as I can there. But yeah, I ROH pilfered a lot of the women's depth around the indies for that tournament. They went and they got Trish Adora and Allison Kay and Roxy. There's like so many people that they picked up. So I think that Impact needs to bring in some fresh people too. We know that they want to bring in Killer Kelly. Unfortunately, it's not a visa issue with her. It's an embassy issue with her. So I think bringing in the Iconics right now would be really, really good. I love that idea. And speaking of that division, Deonna Purrazzo against a mystery opponent I have revealed on FightfulSelect.com. It is somebody outside the company. So if you think it's going to be like, oh, Swerve, it's Taylor Wilde. Taylor Wilde's great. It ain't her. I've been able to confirm it's not Ruby Riott. Not her, but it is somebody outside the company. And I'm torn on this one because if Deonna had never lost the title to, I think it was Su Yung, I think that she would be a shoo-in to win here because I think they would straight up have her go for Taya's record. But because it was broken up a little bit, I don't know if that'll be the case. Do you think it will be Deonna or TBD?
See, this one I've been struggling with too, because I think TBD is Mickie James. There's a big part of me that wants it to be Smiley Kylie, and if it's Smiley Kylie, I want her going so far over. And I think it's Mickie James, and for some reason, I don't think Mickie James wins at least here. I think Deonna retains here. But some of the stuff we've been seeing on NWA, some certain trash back spots, things like that, lead me to believe it's going to be Mickie James as much as I want it to be Smiley Kylie in my heart. So I think Deonna retains, but I think we get Mickie James on our screen, and I'm excited for that.
Speaking of, I'm going to have a story on FightfulSelect.com this week about the Kylie Ray NWA Impact situation, how that all got hammered out. I spoke with Impact officials about that. They gave me some details on how they were able to work that out. And a lot of companies are very, very happy to be working together right now. It's a weird synergy. It's wild. Like they're all talking sugar about each other right now. And I'm happy. Deonna has the 4th longest reign in Knockouts championship history right now. She has the 5th most combined days. She is very close to approaching Awesome Kong. So she's got an incredible reign. They need to restock that division a little bit. I'm going to go towards her, or maybe a non-finish, maybe a double, maybe a draw or something like that.
Maybe Gail Kim gets involved if she's not getting you.
If she can stop threatening me for like 2 minutes, maybe Gail Kim will get involved.
Down for a second to go into this match.
Yeah,
be a really fun wrinkle in the story.
Ultimate X. Oh my God, I cannot wait to see this match. Petey Williams, Rohit Raju. Rohit Raju has been fantastic over the last year.
Oh my God.
He has been one of the most improved wrestlers of the pandemic. And Chris Bay, Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, and Josh Alexander. This is going to take me back to the 2005 to 2009 X Division era. To me, this is the most intriguing X Division match in years and years and years. And Josh Alexander is killing it. I think he finds a way to retain because he's got some buzz about him right now, and not because he walked in on Willie Mack taking a dump.
I mean, yes, but I'm with you in him retaining. I also, of any match, I'm like, I don't care who wins. Give it to Chris Bay, give it to Trey Miguel, whatever. There is a part of me that feels like these X Division matches sometimes just, it's always the same guys, and I am never mad about that because they're always so entertaining to watch, so well executed. I think Josh Alexander retains here simply because I don't have a reason to believe like otherwise that someone else would be going over. My heart to be Trey Miguel because I just love Trey Miguel. But I'm going with Josh Alexander here too. Just he's on a roll. Let's keep the heater going. I like it.
This is a great card, and then we finish it up with Kenny Omega defending the Impact World Championship against Sami Callihan. I'm going Kenny Omega here because I don't think that Kenny Omega's big loss that starts everything will be against Sami Callihan or Impact. No disrespect to Sami Callihan. It's just I think AEW is like, hey, you don't beat him until we beat him. And they ain't beating him until early September. So I think maybe October, Bound for Glory comes around, then he loses. But for this, I've got Omega.
I'm with you entirely on here. They don't even talk about the Impact title on AEW, so I can't imagine him losing here. I think maybe somebody comes and costs Sami Callihan. I would love for that person to be Tessa Blanchard. I don't know if their working relationship is something that would allow for that, but I think maybe Sami Callihan's next feud comes here and costs him so that he's protected, but Omega keeps the championship. Kind of makes me wonder if the Good Brothers are also going to go over so that they can have this, but I'm sticking with Violent by Design. But I'm with you. I think Hangman has to win. He has to be the thread that unravels all of Kenny's belt collections. I want him to have the FTW belt. I want him to have the Millionaire belt for all I get. But I think Hangman has to be that first loss, and then we see Kenny go on a spiral and lose all of the championships, and then maybe go up and heal that body of his for a little bit. So I'm with you. I just don't see Sami Callihan dethroning him, but I think maybe we do get another Slammiversary surprise here before Samoa Joe resigned. I was hoping it was going to be him, but I think Sami's next opponent is going to come and do some damage here, no matter who that's going to be.
Guys, Saturday, Sunday, we're here. We're here every day. We're here every day, and this is going to be a big weekend. Friday, the first SmackDown back with fans. Saturday, Slammiversary. Sunday, Money in the Bank. Monday, the first Raw back with fans. Kate, tell the people where they can find you. Tell the people where they can follow you, where they can support what you're doing.
Sure, you can follow me at Kate on Deck IC. And follow the Mark Order podcast at Mark Order Pod. Don't watch alone. Join the Mark Order. We love talking all things, all elite every Wednesday night. And also in podcast form, you can download after Wednesday nights. And I am going to be doing my morning match. I started watching in 2009. So I had a lot of history to go catch back up on. And this is my way of educating myself. So I'm just going to do morning watch alongs before I start my workday. So come watch along with me. Suggest matches to me, please, so that I don't bug the people in my life just continually over and over again for that.
I love the idea. I think it's great. You guys can also come to twitch.tv/FightfulGaming. Joel Pearl reminds us watch-alongs for both shows this weekend. So join in. Kate, thank you so much. We're going to have you back. We got to have you back. You were fantastic.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, I'll be back since I caved this time.
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot of arm twisting to get you here, but we got you here. And the good thing is, as many people are on this stream as we're at that Orioles game you went to this past weekend. So, I mean,
that many on the stream? Really?
Yeah, me and you. That's it. There were 2 people there. It looked like a desert in that crowd. I was like, is their stadium closed down? And like, she's got connections. Like, how did this work?
Nope. I had a friend text me and was like, how long were you there after the game that this many people left? And I was like, buddy, nobody's going to see the Orioles right now.
Let me tell you.
Prices. Like, it was ridiculous. It was a blast because we went there and then to ROH. We actually had an LSG from ROH with us.
Great guy.
Amazing. He's the best. And the timing was perfect. It went into extra innings. The only thing we didn't get to do was Jimmy's Seafood, but there was nobody there, man.
As a Reds fan, it's not often I get to make fun of other teams for anything. So I'll take any opportunity that I can get. Guys, thank you all so much. Follow Kate. She's fantastic. Asian Joe says, great to see her finally get called up to the show at the All-Star break. Jesus Christ.
Clap and dinger, baby.
We had to get her in the middle of the season because her service time would have started earlier. We get an extra year in her contract now. That's just the way that it works. We're gaming the system. Guys, until
you what I have watched Raw instead of the Home Run Derby.
God. I watched the Home Run Derby. I had the Home Run Derby volume up and the Raw volume down last night. I was like, listen, I love my audience, but they can handle this one. I'll be all right. Guys, thank you all so much. Until next time.